think it's the most important for any human being belonging somewhere and with the right people. So if you feel like this when you're in PVC, then that's it. This is it for me. I don't need much more than that.
Guillaume Blanjean is a French musician based in Copenhagen who makes electronic music as Castle, as well as playing bass in the progressive metal band Only Human. He's also founder and curator of one of the most dynamic electronic music communities I know of, Petite Victory Collective. It's centered in Copenhagen, but includes musicians across the globe and in many genres. It's a record label and a live event organizer, a teaching hub, and one of the warmest, most supportive online spaces you'll find. It just celebrated its 5th anniversary, which these days might as well be its 50th. So what's the secret to building a passionate, creative community that doesn't turn into a circular firing squad? How do you become the kind of grown-up you wish you had around as a kid? How can EDM and prog metal feed each other? I talked to Guillaume to find out. I'm Stephen Boykevich, aka Good Sunset, and this is Slow Fade, conversations about finding meaning, building community, and making art that matters in a digital age. We're just getting started, so leave a review if you dig it and share it with a friend. It makes a huge difference. Thanks for being here.
So many different reasons why I was excited to have you on. I used to be a journalist, like way back in the day. And it's like anytime I enter a new world, I sort of look at, like who can I learn from? Who's kind of pulling people to them? And then, what can I learn from them? And how can they help me find my way? And, you're this incredible center of gravity, even before I knew what Petite Victory Collective was. In like the very first days and weeks on sort of synth Instagram, I would see your post pop up. You do have an energy that comes through the camera very clearly. Obviously, there are some people who are just, have a natural charisma, but there's something like when someone is focused in a certain way, they come alive in a way that you can feel even through the camera.
What you are saying right now, and thanks for the compliment, by the way, make me think that being natural and just putting your camera somewhere without overthinking things is maybe what's working best for everyone out there.
Right.
I guess it's like when I try to put something out there on Instagram, for instance, I don't like to overthink it. It's like trying to record a small part of your life that you want to maybe share with people that will think, that's interesting, or maybe you can do better, or maybe we can share some tips and tricks. And then this is where you reach people, I would say, right? So I try to, I would say, record myself and share it with the world in a way that I like to see it happen as well on Instagram when I look at someone else, when I try to get inspired by the community or another artist, then I know that this is the kind of content that will really reach to me. In my end, I try to do it the same way without thinking about it too much.
What are the ways there to do it? That just focusing on the thing that energizes you and then trying to do your version of it.
Yeah.
So that's like part of what you're describing is, for my money, kind of Instagram at its best, whether it's musical Instagram, creative Instagram, or even just back when people shared their lives and didn't, build brands.
True that.
That was then. Do you still find that Instagram now in the music or more broadly?
I think so, yes. But I think it depends where you're looking. I think you need to be good at looking in the right places. And you need to do the work, you need to do your homework, you need to dig in, you cannot just wait for things to happen and come your way. If you generally wait for things to come your way, it will be like spams and ads and people with really big budget putting products in front of you. But then if you try to use it as a tool that you can really control and not being controlled by, then suddenly something else happens, right? And this is where you connect with people like we did connect back then through January and some other events online. And this is where the magic happens, I would say. I think you need to be conscious and know how to use it and why you do it as well. Otherwise, it gets tricky, right? And I think, yes, it changed quite a lot. I think people are using Instagram and all the social media in different ways today. And when you connect with not the right people, but the people with the same mindset, kind of, it makes the whole experience like quite easier and smooth. And then suddenly the app is becoming way more exciting to look at, because I know what I want to look for. I know exactly who am I going to be talking to. And I know that it's like a real connection, kind of, with your friends in the virtual world that you try to learn from, to grow with, and to get inspired from as well, right? So that's the way I like to use the app.
Mm-hmm. I remember, there was a time at which I got completely overwhelmed. And then I didn't even know there was such a thing as favorites and the following feed. Just the ability to be able to filter out the 90% of garbage and more or less guarantee that at least from 50 people you choose, you will always see their things in that feed made a total difference. And it's interesting, that you talk about how much depends on focusing your attention in the right way. In the things that you write about your own music, in the qualities that I hear in your music, very carefully focused attention seems like the center of everything. Forget what album it was. It might have been Fragments. In the description of what you were going for, you said something like, it's not trying to tell a story. And then I think the last phrase was something like, it's not pretending. And I was so fascinated by that. Talk to me a little bit about that.
I think it's like it goes with the fact that when I'm trying to create with Castle, for me it needs to be a sonic playground. It needs to be a place where it's all about being in the moment and doing things in a very organic way without overthinking whatever you need to do. Because nowadays, like, I work with a lot of bands with different genres in an industry where you need to sell a product. The story around the product is so important, right? So you need to overthink everything, and you need to have the whole packaging to get through the mass or to get the attention. And then when I'm behind Castle, it's just me. I'm just in that state of mind where I'm like, okay, do I want to do it now? No, I don't feel like, okay. Or the way around, I'm inspired. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm doing something and, okay, does it fit the genre? Maybe not. Is it pure techno? Not really. Is it ambient? Not even. But then do I like it? It starts here, right? And then I put it out and it feels real because it's just me with my own rules in my little bubble. And if it reaches people, it's great. If it doesn't, I don't really mind, right? It's just my space to be creative without overthinking the whole process.
That's so interesting. So you're describing what sounds like a sort of overload of storytelling, overload of marketing, overload of world building, all this sort of stuff. Yeah, tell me about that side of it.
Well, so when I'm with my band, the one where I play the bass, Only Human, I love it because, first of all, I love to play with people. I love to be technical. I love to learn my instrument. I love to perform. I love to be on stage, and I love the whole process, right? But then nowadays, if you want to reach some goals, if you want to go on tour, if you want people to listen to your music or labels to be interested in whatever you're doing, you need to have a product and to be business oriented, right? You need to be able to sell yourself, to know how to look good on stage, to have the right clothes on you, to think about the art, the artwork, everything. It's a lot of time, money, energy, and you're becoming business oriented. Even though it's still about the music, it's still about being with your friends and performing, but you still have to think about it and work on it.
Right.
And I need to admit that I love it. I think it's really exciting and I love working that way. But I love the contrast with the Castle. The contrast that Castle is like a real playground where my brain is like, okay, don't think about the rules, don't think about the business. Just do you and try something you cannot try in the other area where you're working, right? So I think it's super exciting to be able to just be yourself, to connect and do everything organically without using ads, without overthinking anything, and just reaching out to people through pure music, and as well just through who you are in a way. Like, I guess I'd like to think that some people maybe listen to Castle because they like the genre and they can connect to the music and the technique. But I think, and I'm quite sure that maybe a lot of people are boarding and listening just because they can relate to who I am as a person, maybe eventually. So I think it goes that way too, right? Two different experiences that I really enjoy. I like both sides. I think like it's about having tools and navigate into the whole process the best you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty powerful combination when you can do both sides. all of those skills that you have, I mean, graphic design, brand design, world building, consciousness of the right image for the right genre, all that sort of stuff. Where does that come from for you?
So I don't do it officially, but I've been doing it in freelance like forever. I don't have any like musical backgrounds or family members into art. I've been growing up in a really traditional family. No one was music oriented or playing any instruments. I met some teenage friends when I was in school playing instruments, and I got to play guitar and try to play in some punk bands back then, and I think it was fun, and so that's how it started for me. And then graphic design, I remember back then I think I was playing with a free software called GIMP, and some friends were like, hey, we're gonna play a concert in 2 weeks, we need a flyer, someone can do something? And I was like, I can try, and I made one just for fun. And then suddenly all the bands were like, oh, can you make some more, we would like some too stuff. And it just picked up on me, right? And I started, I think I was 15, 16, and I just never stopped.
Oh, it's fascinating. And it strikes me as a kind of superpower. It elevates everything you do, especially now, right? It only becomes more important. Petite Victory Collective has this incredible visual world that you found a way to make one thing with room for wildly different genres, wildly different personalities, multiple continents, right? It's really something.
Yeah, it really is, I think. And it's funny you say that, because I never really think about it, because when I think about PVC and the collective, I think about the people and what people brings to each other in a matter of karma, in a matter of being human together and being able to connect and click and help each other out in whatever we need, right? And then genre comes after in my world, and I think it goes by the fact that I love electronic music, but I love electronic music in every form. Like I could listen to ambient for 10 hours and suddenly I could listen to hard techno, and I'm happy in both worlds, right? So then when PVC started, I think it wasn't about fitting in a case, in a box. It was most like trying to fit with the right friends and people that we can click with, right? So yeah, it started like that, and it's still a thing today.
Which is incredible. I mean, happy birthday again, 5 years to PVC. Amazing.
Cheers.
I seem to remember you saying something like, this started just with a small effort to help out a friend or a group of friends. Obviously, watching the growth of it and the scope of it is incredible. Tell me about the birth of PVC as a collective, what you first wanted to do and why.
So basically, PVC is a pure accident. It wasn't meant to be at the start. I was part of another community, actually two. One called Netvio, which was really cool and really nice. It was the beginning of everything for me in the world of electronic, because I had the chance to create a collective where I met Matthias and a lot of other friends already there. But then that collective went a little bit down with time. And I was a part of another one called Electronic Curiosity Collective, American one, really nice as well. It was kind of an independent label. And I was really inspired by all of the people there, like the way they've put everyone together inside Discord and did basically what PVC is doing today, right? But what happened back then? So I just came in that collective, released an EP, and the whole collective just exploded. Like it stopped. I think they had like internal problems and the whole thing crashed. And then I felt empowered, because I really loved what this collective was about and what they were able to do, and how they were able to gather everyone from different countries together. And when I saw it collapse, I think I was like, okay, dude, if no one's doing anything, let's start over and reach out to people and try to build something else. And that's basically how PVC started, because I was like, okay, I'm gonna miss those guys. I'm gonna miss what was happening in this collective. And I thought, let's try to redo the same and maybe change a little bit the way things were driven back then. And yeah, and then it's just history, right? 5 years after, PVC still there.
And it's a collective, and it's a label, and it's a live music organizer, and it's absolutely incredible how much it covers now.
It does quite a lot. And it's all thank you to the goodwill of everyone involved, because what we are today is on everyone. It's not just me sitting here in little Copenhagen. It's as well like all of the friends like pouring in time and energy and will to meet, to travel, to organize events, to release some music with us, right? thanks to everyone still willing to be part of this, because if we are still here today, it's thanks to this karma and mindset and people's will.
You know, when I was listening through all of the music you've released over the last 5 years again, I was really struck that that first album as Atlas Castle in 2021, everybody's there. The moment when you were building this collective, you took this incredibly collaborative approach where every track is a co-production with another core PVC member. So yeah, tell me about that beginning and that what you were hoping to do with and for your friends and how it grew from there.
I think back then when I started, I learned fast that I could grow faster in the technical side of electronic music if I was collaborating with people, because just in my end, watching tutorials and trying to improve my art was a little bit like lonesome, a bit lonely. So reaching out to people and saying, hey, so I'm working on an album and I think it could be nice to make it like a big collective project, like just having a lot of friends over, like welcome in my castle. Back then my name was Atlas Castle, and I think it was a funny way to say, hey, I bring everyone in my own party, but still it's a playground where we can just experiment with a lot of different stuff. So this album was fun, but it was also the start for me, like learning what I wanted to do with electronic music and how to do it and how to write and which direction I wanted to go. Back then, this album was pretty much made in the DAW with Ableton and a lot of stems and stuff. So while I started with a DAW, everything in the computer, like what changes everything, it's when I went over to Castle sometimes after, where I decided that, okay, actually what I enjoy now nowadays with the electronic music, it's more like the in the moment improvisation part of creating music that I cannot do in other sphere I work with. So yeah, I think that's the way it went. So I think it was a fun project, but it was also the really beginning of Atlas Castle back then. And as much as I love that album and I really enjoyed that time, I can feel that I've really grown up from it and learned that it's maybe not a path that I would like to come back to in the way of writing and producing music in electronic. So yeah, I think it was part of the process. It was important for me to grow as an artist, maybe, to understand what I wanted to, what I don't want to actually as well, and where I wanted to go with my small machines and hardware, and how to grow up from all of those experiences, right?
PVC seems to me so important and to stand for something that people need so much, because one is that everyone's both more superficially connected than ever before, but more isolated in deeper ways. And at the same time, the ethos of music making, which is so much focused on live performance and very often DAW-less music too, at a time with limitless technical musical making tools, to the absurd point of, press a button or enter a prompt and get a completed track. That discipline and that focus of, no, it's us with our hands on things. There is music we are making that's alive and that we want you to respond to, sweating together and we're moving together and all this kind of stuff. It's like all of that is concentrated in PVC and clearly part of what makes it so special. But at the same time, it's like sustaining any community, especially these hybrid online in real life communities, is really hard. Just over the last 2-3 years, I've seen multiple communities grow up, flower, and then flame out like again and again. Some people come in, they can't help causing drama, whether or not they're trying to, right? And there's just all kinds of challenges. So how do you avoid that?
That's a very good question. And so where to start? I think the key, like the main key of the whole thing, it's based on communication, based on transparency, and based on being very clear with what we want as a collective and where we are heading and on the rules. It's also important maybe to be careful and be a good curator PVC, it's organic and it's growing slowly because it's not about quantity. It's not about having a big collective with everyone inside. No, it's about giving people time to get to know each other, to talk, to hang out, to communicate, to have some calls, to talk about a lot of subjects, to do some initiatives together, to collaborate, to meet in real life, to do some events and travel. And this takes time. So if you put everyone in the same pot really fast, because you want numbers, you want quantity, then at some point comes the drama. At some point comes all the toxicity, because in any kind of community, I've seen it here in Copenhagen as well. Of course, some people they're more interested by numbers, new followers, new streamers, whatever. And so this is where you need to watch out and be careful and be sure that the people you put together are, for most of them, having the same mindset, and really clicking in the same way. So it takes time, it takes observation, it takes some conversations and debates. And that's why I think PVC 5 years after stands strong, because the roots took time to really be in place. And then we took some bad decisions. We tried some stuff when we started. I think it was 1 year after we started. We had the community fee where everyone had to participate to be able to pay the infrastructures of PVC website and stuff. We did it 1 year, and at the end I was like, let's go back to what PVC is today, right? Because I wasn't clicking and connecting with that. And I think it was going a little bit against the general mindset that I've been trying to start and keep on going with PVC when we started. And it's just trial and errors, right? So like I said, communication, talking and listening to people and being good at, failing, trying harder and building up on all stuff you learn along the way. And I think a lot of resiliency as well. I'm a resilient person thanks to my background and whatever stories I've been through in life. And hopefully, I think I have this mindset where I just want to be able to take care of everyone and create this safe space where you feel at home. You feel like you belong, right? And I think it's the most important for any human being, belonging somewhere and with the right people. So if you feel like this when you're in PVC, then that's it. This is it for me. I don't need much more than that. And then the rest is just like a collective effort. That's how I look at it. There is always drama. There will always be, some kind of things happening that not everyone needs to know. And when this happens, because it happens, I started the collective, I'm initiating the collective. You always need someone, to have a vision and to sometimes say, okay, let's generate some new ideas and stuff. So when drama comes, I'm just taking it and I'm just sitting with the people and I'm just trying to find solutions, compromise and talk things through. And if we don't find any compromise, then we need to take decisions. But yeah, I like to take time to talk and listen and find out, okay, what's the challenge here? I don't like to talk about problems. I like to think about problems as challenges. Then we will always find solutions to eventually make everyone happy and satisfied, right? I take them one at a time when they come, and that's it. And it's part of the game, right? So,
sure. But it's it's one of the things that I've seen makes other leaders or founders bail out. So it says a lot that when those moments come, you take it head on. Lots of people can't or won't. It's one of the reasons things fall apart. The values that you talk about, the focus on that mindset and how much you value this community to the extent of putting so many resources into it, so much time, where does that come from for you? Because in my experience, people who do that, sometimes it's because they have a very intense experience of community when they're growing up. They know how much it matters to them and therefore they insist on building it. But then just as often, I meet people who have the opposite experience. There was a big hole. And when they reach a certain age, they kind of decide, okay, I always wanted that. I didn't have it. I'm going to find my people. I'm going to find a way to build it. Where does it come from for you? Basically,
I would say that I've had a I've had a good childhood, and my friends were super nice, and my parents and family did the best they could, and they're still doing it. And I can't complain about the way I've been raised and about the chances that I had as a teenager. But what I took with me as well, it was a hard time. I didn't feel really seen. I didn't feel really important or belonging even in my group, even though I still cherish all those moments. I remember like high school time and stuff. I wasn't really like into school, and I was more creative already back then, and I was a bit failing in the whole educational program, and I became good at school like later on when I clicked with it, and when I actually found the right teachers and the right people with the right mindset and way to teach. And then I remember that I just felt alone and lonely in a bubble where I thought no one cares, no one sees it, no one really understands what I'm going through. And I felt that sometimes I tried to reach out and say, hey, I don't think it's normal that this teacher is talking the way he's talking to me. You know, I had some adults telling me when I reached out and said, hey, so I'm lost. I don't know. I don't understand what you're explaining here. And some adults were like, Guillaume, I don't have time to take everything from start for you, right? So that was what I was getting as a teenager sometimes. And I think I got really mad, and I was pissed off by the system. And I think it marks like you grew up with that. And then when I became adult, at some point I realized, okay, I can go both way. Either I hate people and I still asocial, and that's it. So I feel comfortable alone in my comfort zone, and that's my way. So there's a little bit of that in me, because I like to be alone. I'm a loner. Even though I run a collective, I like to talk to people. I need me time. I need my time alone. I need to disconnect. I need to be focused on me. And as soon as I'm focused enough on me and I'm happy, then I can be focused on everyone around.
Yeah.
And growing up, I realized, okay, let's try to become the adult that you wanted to have for you when you were younger. So I think it took me years to realize it, to understand it actually. I think I remember I took some education when I moved to Denmark later on to become what it's called here a pedagogue. So a pedagogue, it's basically a kind of social worker. You have the social skills to take care of younger people with challenges. And I think my motto doing that was really like I told you earlier, let's try to become the adult that you needed when you were younger. I guess it's coming from that. So today, the way I am as a person, maybe the way I think about a collective, the way it's important for me to take care of people and that people feel like they belong and are in a safe space comes from those experiences. They were not like horrible, right? It's not something I was depressed about or whatever, but when you're young and a bit lost and not fitting, and you feel a bit deviant, and you feel that the adults are like, come on dude, try to catch up, it hurts, and your self-esteem goes really low and your confidence is not there. But I feel lucky because I have a lot of resilience. I would say that period led to some dark stories that I will not tell here, but there's like those stories made the adult I am today, and I'm glad that I went through that because I'm really happy and comfortable with the adult I am, and I'm still improving and I'm still getting better, but so far I think I'm on the right path. So I think if it shows with PVC, it shows that I'm not too wrong in my way of doing things. So
it's incredibly beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And it says everything about how deep it goes for you. Anytime I see somebody doing something remarkable like that, whether it's building a community, whether it's in their own artistic work, you know how hard it is, right? You know better than anybody, and you know on both sides of it, when you're doing the thing that's purely for yourself and when you're doing the thing that connects you to other people. There are millions and millions of reasons to give up. There are millions of reasons to turn to something else. And when you can stick with it, it's usually something pretty deep that you've learned along the way. And what you describe, it's just unbelievably moving to me, that idea of going through experiences and then coming out as an adult and saying, how can I be the adult I wish I had had? It reminds me so much of something that somebody told me about being a parent and coming to understand the relationships between parents and kids in a different way when you reach a certain age. You realize that so many things that you suffered from as a child, you know, in one mindset, those are nothing but burdens, right? You just got this giant backpack full of rocks and you're trying to climb up a mountain. And some people I know spend their whole lives relating only that way to the disappointments and the frustrations that they suffered as young people. And I remember somebody saying to me at some point, look, certainly there are times when you need help and support and everything else, even to have a choice, right? But in the best circumstances, you reach a point, you know, as a sort of early adult where those experiences give you a choice. And the choice is, are you going to do your own version of those? Or are you going to say, wait, no, there's something I understand here because of what I went through. So how can I be the kind of parent, adult, community leader, whatever it is, who does exactly the opposite, who does exactly the thing that I wish I had had? And it's amazing that you found your way to that.
I think I've been lucky as well to meet the right people growing up that as well showed me the way. And I got inspiring leaders. I'm working, for example, so in my daily job, I take care of kids. And my manager, my leader, is someone that could see it in me back then. Like, was like, you got something, and you have the energy to reach out to those kids and to make a difference, but you don't know it yet. But we're gonna work on it,
right?
And those people gave me chances, right? I don't feel lucky, you know, because I had to work hard on being the better version of myself. But like you said, it's like it's not the luggage that you carry that are supposed to define who you are or who you want to be, right?
Right.
So I think it's important to be able to be resilient and navigate through that and make your own decision and take the best out of it, because you can always learn something from it. And yeah, it takes time and process, and sometimes as well with the right psychologist and therapist.
Right.
Because sometimes, for me especially, I think I do a lot of processing on my own because I have the tools to do it, thanks to really professional people that gave me the tools, right? But if you don't have the tools to reflect today as an adult and to ask yourself the right questions, then the spiral is never ending, right? And maybe you will never come out of it.
Yeah, totally. So you incorporate music into the work you do with kids in the social work setting?
I do, yeah. Basically, I do it in different forms, like teaching the regular instruments from guitar, bass, keyboard, piano, and stuff like that. But I took a lot of hardware and synthesizer and samplers with me along the way, because I realized that there's a lot of kiddos that don't want to play guitar and drums, and they're not into music that much, and they don't have the ear and stuff like that. But suddenly, when they see something different, when there's like cheat codes, it's another approach. Like, okay, we don't know that when I press that, something happens. It's a bit easier. It's more in the moment, right? So I found out that I could reach out to them in a different way. And that they kind of stick to it and came back to me and like, hey, can we do that thing again with the weird machine you brought last time? And I think it's great when this happens. It's like the magic moment, right? I'm like, okay, I got you. We're going somewhere and let's see where it leads. And that's it. And I use it a lot, of course, to play music and to be in the moment with them, but also sometimes, to generate communication, dialogues, and to find out, hey, are you having a good day today? And this is where it starts with the machines, because you're in that place where you create a mood, a moment, and everyone can experiment even though they don't have any knowledge or they don't know how to play guitar and stuff like that. It's different. You can reach to them in a different way. So yeah, I use them quite a lot.
That goes so deep too, that this idea of using these machines to create an emotional connection. I was thinking in this very naive way, right? I'm pretty new to electronic music. I had played guitar and sang my whole life, but was intimidated by synths until relatively recently.
Yep.
And part of what blew my mind was exactly what you're describing, that it was so hard to make sounds that I felt inspired by. And then with the synth, very, very basic keyboard skills and some tweaking, you can make sounds that just sort of blow your mind.
Yep.
And you sort of enter this whole world. And then at the same time that was happening, I was discovering how much of this very supportive, usually very supportive online community there is around all kinds of electronic music. And it's that connection again, right? Even though it's remote, even though it's through, digital or at least electronic instruments. And when you really think about it, that goes like as deep as we have music for anything, right? Remember someone describing at some point, the way people made music 10,000 years ago. If you've got a bard around a collective bonfire, there's two things that bard is going to sing a song for: to make people dance or to make people cry, right? It's like still the core of everything. So like, of course that becomes a way that you can reach children in this setting. Of course it can become a way that connects people in this alienated digital age. And in the context of electronic dance music, of course there's a way that it becomes a deep connection. Is that what it feels like for you?
It is actually. I really see it as a tool, like a tool to communicate without words. Because sometimes, even for an adult, you don't have the words. You don't know how to put words on your emotions, words on your grief, or words in your current situation, because you don't know how to do the exercise. You don't know how to communicate without feeling judged or being in a wrong position, right? Mm-hmm. And I experience quite the same with young kids. Like, they don't have the words. Mm-hmm. Also, the brain connections, and it's not there yet. It's like building up. So they don't know how to use the right words to be emotional, and they are afraid of what you're going to think about. They're afraid about being judged, and all that things. And through music, when you put a mood, if I say to a kiddo, hey, you're going to have to tell me how you feel today with that machine.
Sure.
It's really interesting. Because the machine we're talking, it's just cerebral. Like, if they feel moody, if the day was annoying, if the teacher was not cool with them, I don't know. So what's going to come out of the machine is quite dark and moody. And then you start the conversation, right? And the other way around, if they had a very nice day, good results, everyone is happy, then they come with cheesy beats and stuff, and it's different, and you get something. And you start talking with them that way.
Wow.
As an adult, sometimes I write music just for myself, just to express frustrations or happiness or tension, or I'm just sad those days. I can't explain it, but I'm sad. The state of the world, whatever, I don't know, but it needs to come through something. And then I will use the machine to put it out, because it's easy and it's therapeutic in a way. And I believe in that. I think like when you can do it, you should, because, some people need to get out of the house and run. Me, I just need to get in my house and play music, and that's the way it works.
I love it. And tell me about the current setup. I know you've always focused towards minimalism, and you mentioned at one point thinking about building a modular setup and getting a case and a handful of modules, and then deciding no way. The total 180, sold it all off, and went back to the Digitakt. What happened?
That was funny. Of course I needed to try modular. I'm still fascinated by modular. It's like even the guys from the collective, when we played last Friday, I'm always looking at the gears and I'm like, what if? But no, I needed to try. I remember we talked about, I bought the case, a couple of modules, and I could already control some tiny beats and play a little bit with 3 modules and my Digitakt and put everything together. And then suddenly I realized, okay, the case was that much money, and this is that much money, and this is too, and I still want this and that. And there were no end. The rabbit hole was a thing, and I was just jumping straight into it.
Yeah.
And my brain was like, I'm quite a rational person. I need to rationalize everything. And at the end, I was like, okay, my prog metal band is quite expensive as well, because I play the bass, we have big gears, we need to travel, we need to this and that, and pay for the tour bus and a lot of stuff. So if I need to spend the same budget for Castle, I can't right now. So it was, I would say, purely economic. Also, it became too big. Like I told you before, like, you know, I like minimal. I have one rule. If it fits in my bag, it's a keeper. And when I'm out playing, I have one bag, the Digitac, synthesizers, some stuff around. If it fits in my bag, everything is a keeper. So my current setup is basically Digitac and Roland synthesizer for now. I might buy a new synth at some point because I'm on the verge of trying a bit more experimental ambient stuff, but I haven't found the right machine yet to do it. As much as I love the Digitact, like when I play with the Digitact, I always come back with minimal techno because it's easy, because you just bring in the kick and the snares and there you are, you have a party. So I need something more simple without beats, just a machine generating noise and textures and fitting in my bag.
Interesting. I mean, the huge advantages to that. I started messing around at one point with this synth suitcase. I got a big old vintage Samsonite suitcase and fit a bunch of synths. And it took like 6 months to find the right power supply that could actually power everything. And it was fun and it was cool. And it did let me go to some places, but it was a pain in the ass. It's like, it weighed probably 80 pounds. And like I had to drive it places because I couldn't carry it more than, 100 meters. Like it's totally crazy. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I also have these little, probably completely wrong pictures of things. And one thing that I keep coming across that I wanted to ask you about, maybe you can say it's all, it's all ridiculous, is this idea that there's sort of, to some degree, like national cultures of electronic music from country to country. There's always going to be a million exceptions and a huge range. But like again and again, I would run across Italian ambient artists. And then, there was seemed to be a certain feel to French techno versus Scandinavian techno. And then, obviously the Berlin scene is so iconic in so many ways. And is there any reality to that from your point of view of sort of national cultures or national tendencies? Or is it all sort of bullshit?
That's a very good question and a bit of a tricky one. I don't think there is a right answer to that. I think it depends where you look at, right? Like my genuine answer would be no, I don't think so. I think it depends on what you like and how you define electronic music, right? I like to think about Aphex Twin, and I think I read somewhere for a long time ago, like some wise word from the man that I really respect in every aspect of what he is doing. It's like he was describing the fact that you should not overthink too much electronic music. You just should let the music do the talking, and that's pretty much it. So don't put it into boxes. And that's basically what I'm always doing when I listen to electronic or whoever I'm with. And I haven't really thought about it. Like, hey, you're a friend from Germany, so of course you play Berlin techno in a way and stuff like that. Now that you're saying it, I can see it in a way, yes. But do I agree with all of this? I'm not sure. For sure, there is like a countries with like that are more representative in some genre. If you think about the UK, maybe, and all the drum and bass vibe, or like some other country with more Eurodance, and other country with a more trap-oriented electronic and stuff. Yes, I think so. But like, it's not because I'm French that I play traditional Daft Punk electronic music, right?
Right.
So I'm a bit ambivalent on that question. I like to say yes, of course, but in another way, no. If you really look in the right places and find the people and listen to what the people are doing in each their way, I don't think it really makes it like something national, like, no. But it's also because when it comes to electronic, like, I'm bad with genres. I can say, yeah, this is minimal, this is experimental, this is ambient, this is this and that. But to all the genre I just named, there is sub-genre that I'm not an expert, and I'm all in for the experience. I'm all in for the feeling I get when I listen to whatever you're doing. And I don't think much more about it. If I get moved by the music, that's it. You can play hardcore, you can play ambient, you can play whatever. I'm moved. That's it. I don't need to put it in a box, and I don't need to know where you're coming from.
Yeah, if you're moved, that's the only rule, right? I can't not ask at the 5th anniversary of PVC what you're thinking about for the future of the collective.
I like to take things the way they're coming and one step at the time, so I don't overthink things too much. Of course, what I will wish for everyone is just to keep the space like thriving, being a safe space, ongoing for everyone, and of course meeting new friends and having new opportunities, you know. Today's when I see some of the artists in the collective connecting together, doing collaborations, traveling, inviting each other to play in one country and another, makes me super happy, of course, because that's what it's all about, putting people together in the same room and then let the magic happen, right? And when it goes beyond internet, beyond the virtual world, this is where I think, okay, yes, this is where PVC means something even stronger. So I just hope and wish that we will continue in that direction. I would love for some people to dare a bit more and dream a bit harder and try to take over some initiatives and maybe start their own events and inspire people to try stuff they haven't tried before as well in a collective. Because I know, and I'm sure, because it's been like this for me when I started, I was the one in the corner thinking, what if I tried to make my own event? Or what if I tried to reach out to someone and collaborate? And what if at some point you just need to do it, right? And I just hope that we at the collective can inspire everyone to try and maybe fail, but fail in a way that you feel proud of yourself for going through the process, and you just learn from everything you took along the way and build up on that and keep on going, right? So yeah, that's what I hope for the future of PVC, that we inspire people to take some more risk in their artistic path. Yeah. But now I have one for you because I'm interested too. It's like you're part of PVC as well, right? And you've been part of a lot of different initiatives. Like we made some compilations together. You've been part of jam sessions and January and a lot of conversations we had and we still have in the server. So what do you envision for you? What would be the best scenario for PVC in the next 5 years?
What PVC does is so remarkable and feels so complete in so many ways. The only thing I ever feel missing is my own physical presence, right? It's so remarkable how much you've built and how many ways there are to plug in and really feel part of the community that don't require being able to come to weekend events and, you know, drive from city to city together for a show or someone else's show. But of course, I can't, you know, I in the best way, I'm jealous of that, right? And I so wish I could be there. So that's the only thing from my point of view that in the future is like, I hope that energy, that spirit of that community continues long enough for me to be able to finally make it over there, you know, meet everybody in person, have some crazy times together and make some music together.
I love to hear that. And, you know, I will share something that's really special to me in a way. It's like, I remember when we had the third Sonic Playground and like where we had the real like community gathering with people coming from Canada, the US, and like everywhere in the club. It was really unreal. And like, you know, suddenly you're in a room with 30 people and you're just like, okay, we've been talking together for years on Discord, on Instagram, and now we are in the same room, and just thinking that you are able to bring people together in real life and make it genuine and easy and not awkward and safe still, you know. Like I remember the Sunday when everyone left, so I had my skateboard with me because I was like, okay, I need to process that weekend. The way I process is when I go out and skate. I remember I had like a little tear in my eye, like, okay, goodbye guys and thanks for that weekend. And it felt different. I was really uplifted by everyone and the karma, and it was a beautiful moment. And for me, that was one of the biggest milestone ever in putting a collective together in that way. I wish, like you, that it keeps on happening and that we can make people still travel around the club and meet in real life, because it means a lot. It makes a big difference in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. There's nothing like it. And it's the most beautiful kind of proof that the digital things that there's very good reason to blame for causing conflicts and pushing people apart and putting people in tiny silos, they're also, when used the right way, can make things like that happen, right?
Exactly. exactly. And that's the point, it's like when I talk with the kids, like you will always have the parents saying, yeah, the phones and the internet is dangerous and blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I agree with you. But with the right guidance, if you know how to use your tools and use them in the right way, you can do wonders. You can make beautiful stuff happening. And this is one of the proofs, right? If you know how to use your tools and use them in a genuine way, then you connect. In the end, I think I would like to believe with the right friends and the right people fitting your mindset and the right tribe in a way, right? So yep, work in progress.
Huge thanks to Guillaume for having this conversation. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. Give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. It goes a long way. Thanks for listening.